All right. So first thing I would like to do is to get our agenda online. I shared it with everyone with the KeyBT program, but that way you can see it. So let's go screen share. And so for the next few minutes, you'll see the agenda, but you will should see the agenda online. And I'm trying to figure out just how much of a delay we have here. All right. So just to tell you, it looks like there's about a 30-second delay, but that'll be fine. So that way, if you do ask a question, I'm trying to keep an eye on that as well. But we will figure it all out there. Now, for the other thing too is on this agenda you see here, we've got the event page, which obviously does not work now, so we'll figure that out. I'll update that in a second. My cell phone is busy right now. You guys, I guess a lot of people are trying to get on now and see it. Looks like we got a couple people live with us. I think some other ones are trying to figure it out. So my cell phone is another way to try to contact me. I'll be monitoring that as well. I think the play button, the two of you at least who are watching it live should be able to, you figured that out. So if anyone ever texts you or you figure out you got some friends online, you can tell them how you were able to see it. And then I will post the YouTube video. We'll update that link as well. So let's see. The first thing I want to do is just congratulate everybody. Really appreciate it. We've had a really good year this year working with the KeyBT folks. In cohort 1, we did a lot of really good things and had a lot of fun. They were able to see some interesting things as well. So the first thing I want to check out for you guys is this. This is the participants. So we'll go there. Now, as you see, if you click on the link as well, you should be able to see everyone that has confirmed with me has their email address. So that way you can see that on that far right column there. So I have a few more people who are still going to confirm with us, but we should have 49 KeyBT members. The cool thing about this, if people ask, so how did you become a KeyBT member? The one thing to remember is that it's a grassroots beginning. So in other words, the first thing that you're going to know is that everything started from teachers. So teachers nominated you, admin could nominate you, instructional coach could nominate you, district mentors and school lead mentors could nominate you. But the idea is that it's you guys are there and nominated because of the work you've done in the field on the ground with other teachers. The other thing to look at is that not all schools, we have almost every school, but not all school has beginning teachers that are part of the program. That's not a problem. What we say is they don't have anyone at this time. So really this is something that isn't required by everybody, but something that certainly we can look at in the future. Just to give you an idea of who else is out there right now. We have in K2, we've got, and this is actually pre-K2. So if we have any pre-K folks, put you in that group as well. So we have 12 of those, of course. The 3rd grade through 5th grade, we've got, looks like 16. 6-8 is 12. 9-12 is 9. Of course, we only have 6 high schools. So that brings us to a total of 49 participants. So that way you can always have access to who's there. You have that link, and I'll show you some other things on the in the handout or in the agenda that we have that you can link as well, so you can find access to all this. So that's number 1. Second thing to look at is if you click on this link, the KeyBT page, we have a teacher support page. You know that it's the right page simply because of the hot air balloons. So when you see the hot air balloons there, you know you're in the right spot. So the other thing is, when we started this program, I was asked by the Educational Foundation, Seth, what is this program about? What are you doing? What's the end goal? So the one thing we did last year was we created a mission and then just sort of a brief explanation. So the first thing is the KeyBT mission, of course, it says right here, is to engage and empower our innovative, creative, and effective beginning teachers as collaborative leaders. So in the end, our goal is to work with you guys to make sure then you have skills, you have the ability, you also are able to collaborate with other sharp people around the county. So then together our collective whole ends up becoming bigger than our individual parts. So that's a key aspect. If you look down, in fact, in the on the logo is a Roman arch. We chose that. KeyBT doesn't really stand for anything except for keystone. And the keystone in a Roman arch is not always the strongest stone, but it is the most important one, because the keystone is the stone that holds everything else together. So the idea is, if we're going to provide support like an arch for beginning teachers, the beginning teacher process is a 3-year induction process. Then one of the things we have to do is, your role as the KeyBT is to make sure that everything works together. You're the ones that helps organize it. You do not have to do everything, but you help organize things. You help get everybody together. You help collaborate. You help raise questions and awareness. We help share resources. So that's sort of the big picture of what does KeyBT even stand for. So it's the keystone in a sense. The other thing up here is, what is the KeyBT program? It's designed to work, of course, with highly effective beginning teachers to train and support you to become collaborative leaders. We've got 4 main points. The first one is that orientation. And the orientation we've got down just a little bit below is this summer. So it's August 12th. I'll give you some more details later. But the idea is to have a familiar face, to have someone sharp and successful to be part of the program. And so that way, when a new teacher comes in, the first person or one of the first people they meet is another successful young teacher, beginning teacher. And your job is to help us facilitate sort of a words of wisdom session. So right here from the beginning, if you could tell a beginning teacher, what do they need to know from day one? So they don't have to wait 180 days. From day one, what do they need to focus on? What do they need to pay attention to? What do they need to do? So that part is really important, to start everyone out right. And so we're going to use you guys as facilitators. This year, we're doing things differently. We're going to use last year's cohort to help facilitate and train you guys so you're comfortable. So you have protocols to take care of everything and understand what to do. So that will be August 12th. The resources, training, and advocacy will take place throughout the year. And I'll start with the end in mind. The Advocacy Day is a day that this last year we worked with Lee County beginning teachers. We went to Raleigh. We were in the Hunt Library, and the Hunt Library is one of the probably 7 wonders of the world now. It is an awesome building, and it's just a place for knowledge. It's really cool. And I think next year with you guys, we'll actually be able to take a tour. This year, we just so happened that our visit was scheduled on exam day, so we could not walk around, but it's a really cool place. The other neat thing is we collaborate with beginning teachers from Lee County. We should be able to do that again this year, I hope. But the idea is that no matter what, whether with Lee County or just by ourselves, it gives you a time to collaborate and make sure we talk about issues that we need to talk about and focus on. The highlight of this adventure was to go to the General Assembly building. We had an hour uninterrupted time with our local delegation. The Lee County teachers actually were able to meet an hour with their delegation as well. To have an hour with the legislators is phenomenal. They'll be able to listen to us and work with us. It was a professional, well done session. Our QBTs this year really did a phenomenal job of representing the profession and getting the issues out to the legislators they really needed to do. So that's sort of the end. The other part of this part, though, is that if a beginning teacher has a concern, if it comes to me through our QBT program, in a sense, there's safety in anonymity. This can be something that's a concern of beginning teachers, not of one BT from one school. So there's safety in that. We can also be proactive. Like several of my beginning teachers, QBTs this year, are implementing programs they developed and designed to be proactive so we can solve things, so we can advocate, so we can fix things that need to be fixed before they become a problem. And so that will be one of the roles that you take on this year. The resources and training sort of go hand in hand. The resources, I'll show you that in a second. We have a Google Drive of resources. The idea being, why do we have to redesign the wheel if something's already been done? So if you have a sample schedule for open house, or a way you keep up with parent contact logs, classroom management ideas, all this in resources. We have a Google Drive, so that way you do not have to redesign the wheel. So I'll show you that in a second. The training part comes in our facilitating of monthly, we call them teacher talks on the district level. The idea is being that how do we work individually with the school, so that way we have things that are important to beginning teachers. So that way in anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour if it's real important, how can our beginning teachers leave feeling prepared and smarter than they were beforehand? For example, progress reports. So before progress reports, we need to go over what do they need to do, how do they need to do it, how do they need to print them off. So that way when progress reports comes up in 2 weeks or a month, they're ready, they're prepared, they know what to do. So that's one of the things that we'll get your help with. This is not your job to do. This is your job to be there and facilitate, and to work. The lead mentor for each school is in charge of this. Sometimes an AP does it, sometimes the lead mentor, sometimes an IC, but really your job is just to help facilitate, to assist in facilitating that meeting. The other thing you'll see down here, and these dates, by the way, I'm sorry, are still from last year. So the other thing here is this shared Google Drive. This is information that is for the QBT folks in particular. So I've got the list. That right there is the list of this year's beginning teacher or QBTs. This is last year's QBTs. And there's some other things that we'll use. So if you ever need anything that's in a folder, or if you get something that's shared with me, you can always find it down here in the shared Google Drive folder. All right. So I covered that already. Program overview. This is another document. So if you want to figure out what exactly is going on and what is the QBT program, this is our same arch that we have. This one has a flow chart in it. So the idea is this last year, as a nominee, you had a successful year. You were able to work with other teachers. You were nominated by other teachers. So that's the first thing. So in the spring, we just nominated, and you guys accepted. So now you're going to be part of the program. During the summer, you're actually going to facilitate the induction. So that's on August 12th. So we are doing half a day district, which means that's where we will be at Rose High School. I'll give you the dates later on, so you don't have to worry about it. It's on that Google Doc. And then also we'll have a half day at the school. So that way the idea is you guys are the ones helping to bridge the gap between the district day when we're at Rose High, and then you're also the ones to help make sure they have a familiar face when they go to the school for the school orientation that afternoon. So we'll start at Rose High and then we'll go that afternoon. The next school year, we're scheduled to have between 3 and 4 training days, and that's partly partly because of budget, partly because of schedule. We'll have to figure that out. I have one training, of leadership training that we developed for teacher leaders. It's a 1 or 2 day training. We had 2 days scheduled, but because of snow and we couldn't reschedule it, we made it a 1 day training. So that one is the one flex day. So definitely 3 days, but a 4th day is a possibility. The district, actually the Education Foundation, pays for everything as far as subs. And so we'll get those dates out to you soon, and I'll describe that in just a second. And then during the year, we've already talked about the monthly training. We call them teacher talks, creating the resources, and then the advocacy part. The mission is down here, and then a little bit more on what the program is about. And this is just another flow map, so that way we can see what does it mean under advocacy, what kind of things can we do, under resources, what kind of things will we create and work with, and then under the training, the teacher talks, and then of course under the summer induction to help facilitate that. So that is sort of the overview there. On the schedule, the other thing here is just to give you a brief history. The whole reason that we have this whole program is because of the Pitt County Schools Education Foundation. They wanted to figure out a way to help support our beginning teachers, our high-flying beginning teachers. So they're funding all of the subs. So primarily, all the money they have is to help fund subs, so that way we can get together, we can collaborate, and we can work together. So they're a key part of that whole program. So when we look at the calendar for this coming up year, the only date I have set right now in stone is Wednesday, August 12th for the orientation. That day I'll give you a little bit more down bottom, but then we'll have 2 days of training. The idea is we'll have September, skip October, go in November. In January, it'll be a little more informal. We'll work out the details of this, of a social. We were able to have it at the Educational Foundation's annual meeting. They treated us very well. I'll have to work on the time with Ms. Frances Young through the Educational Foundation, but that was really a fun time, treated like a professional. So no matter what happens or how we format it, we'll have a time to it'll be in the evening, but it'll be a very different format. Get to know everybody differently, treated like a professional. We get to act like professionals. We get to collaborate outside of school. So that'll be fun. We did that. Right now, proposed to have our leadership training in March. This is the 1 or 2 day training. I'm almost positive we'll definitely be able to take care of the 1 day without a problem. We were really trying to work on the budget to take care of 2. But I have to close out this year to see how we can afford next year. So that's a final little detail we have to work out, but that'll happen in March. We're able to have a celebration in May. And in May, when we do that, that was a nice event as well. It's in the evening. The superintendent is there. You get your picture taken. In fact, if you go to the KBT page, you'll see pictures from that celebration. So it's a picture of the superintendent, Steve Stevenson, who's the chair of the Education Foundation, was there. And then you get your picture, so that way you look sharp. Had a really cool memento that we had. It was a woven apple, they call it. So we'll have some fun times, treat you well. The General Assembly, the Advocacy Day, normally we aim for that in the April or May time, possibly even March, depending on what year it is. Next year, however, is a short session. So the short session does not start until the end of May. And trust me, I do not touch teachers in May and June because you're preparing for end of grades. However, in talking with our legislative liaison, during the June work days, that actually would be a good time to come. So we're going to either try to work it out in one of the final work days or possibly right after the work days, like the day after. But I'll get that date out to you ahead of time. It's a lot of fun. We took a charter bus up to Raleigh, worked with the Lee County teachers, and had a lot of fun. The other thing that's important is that any days that we have that you miss school, that the district pays for your sub. Actually, the Education Foundation does. So we can complete leave forms, professional leave forms. I'm the contact. You send them to me after your principal signs them. And then we pay for the sub so that we do it ahead of time. Like always, we try to stay away from the end of the month, and we try to stay away from Mondays and Fridays. Sometimes it's not really avoidable depending on our presenters, but most of the time that's what we were able to do this last year. Final big detail is our BT orientation. So the BT orientation, of course, is Wednesday, August 12th at Rose High School. We'll have every first year brand new teacher. Some of our folks that joined us last year after January will be invited as well. So that way they can come as well, because they will be classified as a BT1 as well this year. But primarily though, it's all brand new teachers. Honestly, some of our key BTs will have beginning teachers from their school. Some of you may not, depending on how the principal hires. But all of you can come to this event and work, because all of you are successful and efficient, creative, and innovative in your grade span. And the knowledge you have at your school can certainly help all of the beginning teachers there. Now, this is not a required event, because it is during the summertime. We are going to have either we'll either be able to pay you a small stipend, or at least have a trade-off / comp day for you for that day. We have from 9 to 10:30. We have our cohort 1 key BTers are going to be there and facilitate that training. The idea being that way you can see what the end looks like, the training they had, the protocols we did throughout the year to facilitate discussion and dialogue and work with adults. They will do with you, so that way we can brainstorm and facilitate and work out some things. So we'll do that in the morning time. Then from 10:30 to 11:30, we'll have time, an hour, to talk with beginning teachers. Right now, depending on numbers, we'll have 4 different groups. We'll have K2, which includes our pre-K. We'll have 3-5, our 6-8, and our 9-12. There's a possibility we'll have a separate pull-out section for our exceptional children's teachers. But right now, we are going to have them go in with their grade span to get ideas. But if we have enough come out, we may pull them out and do something different with them. But this is the main way we break up our beginning teachers, so they're used to this, and that way you guys can talk with them together. 11:30 to 12:30, we always have a good lunch. You guys, of course, are invited to participate in that as well. And then from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock is our school orientation, where they go back to their school. It's organized by the school lead mentor, so you are not in charge of that. But our key BTers really were good at helping to facilitate that and offer suggestions and work with your school lead mentors. If you have time to touch base with your school lead mentor, definitely do that and see if they need you for anything there. All right. That right now is what I have on board for the agenda. I know I went really fast. I'm going to see if there are any comments or questions you guys were able to get. My guess is because of the chaos from switching sites, we were not able to do that. But we'll make sure that you have access to email me as well. You've got my cell phone number now, and hopefully we'll be able to get together this afternoon. Meeting from 3 to 4:30 at the Coffee Shack. That way, where you put a face to the name instead of me just talking at you. That way, we can talk and answer questions and do some cool things. So I appreciate you working with me through this first experiment. It was not perfect, but that's what happens sometimes. And hopefully, we can figure this out and maybe try it at our first meeting. So that way you guys have a chance, if you meet some cool people when we sit down with all our 3-5 teachers, you're at a table when our middle school teachers are together. Hopefully we'll be able to try out some Google Hangouts and Hangouts on air, so that way we can record some things and make our collaboration work with the help of technology any time of day, any place we need. So that way we can get you guys working together and working hard. Look forward to it. Appreciate your help and work. If there's anything else, shoot me an email. I'll talk to you this afternoon. Thank you very much.